Hi everybody, this is Louis Cayetan, and wow, what things are happening around us. It's so exciting to see, isn't it? You know, this presidential election is really an amazing an event. John McCain and Barack Obama, they're going to be getting it on again for the third time and really discussing the issues, at least the issues that are issues to them. I'm wondering, are they issues to us? You know, when you begin thinking about the trillions of dollars that they're spending, and I'm wondering who's getting all this money. I was talking to a gentleman yesterday who works in downtown Cleveland on the 16th floor of the U.S. Bank building, and you know, it's a penthouse situation. And I asked him, I said, so tell me, have you received any of that $700 billion bailout money yet? Because he's in the mortgage industry. And he looked up at me, kind of through his glasses, and he said, no, I haven't. He said, I don't know that we ever will. I'm wondering who's getting the money. I'm wondering where all the programs are going to come from in regards to what they're promising. And you know, so many of us as Americans, we every 4 years have to go through this, don't we? We start hearing people and what they're going to promise, what they're going to do. And you know, 4 years ago, George Bush, and 4 years before that, again, George Bush, and now everybody's complaining about George Bush. It's like, how can people get behind him and believe him? And then suddenly now they're saying, you know, the Bush economics is what has brought this country to the place of where it is. And before that, it was Clinton, and before that, it was somebody else. Now, look, you know, we need to put our trust and our hope, our goals in life in more than man. I mean, if all we can do is have aspiration to put our trust in some human's platform about what they're thinking is going to be best for you. I mean, after all, what is best for you? Do you have any idea what is best for you and your family? God does. You know, when you get a car, you get an automobile, and inside the glove box is going to be a manual, and that manufacturer has written that manual because they designed and engineered that vehicle to run specifically or according to specifications. And so they want you as the consumer to know that to get the optimum results from this manufactured instrument, you have to follow the manual. And we believe that we've been created in the image of God. I mean, when are we going to begin to accept that and understand that we're unlike anything else on this planet? God made human beings in His image. And He gave us a manual. He gave us the specifications on how to reach the optimum level of life. And that is the Bible. Now, I know it's controversial to a lot of people. They think, well, I can't believe in the Bible. I mean, are you kidding me? All those crazy stories in there? Listen, what you've got to do is you've got to begin reading it with an open mind and recognizing that, understanding that Jesus said, I've come to give you life and that more abundantly. And if we can just begin to retrace our steps, get back to moral code, and begin to realize that the value of human life and the importance of the family and a marriage and all of these things that have made life what it is and what we've known. Listen, we're on the precipice of disaster. The fabric of our society is unraveling all around us. And the only hope that we have is to say, wait a minute here, you know, we've got to get back to the basics. I remember numbers of years ago, I bought my daughter a car. Boy, this was when she was just probably 18 years of age in college. And she had forgotten to put oil in the car. And she kept telling me, Dad, my car's not running very well. And I'd say to her, you know, did you check the oil? And no, I haven't done that. I said, well, you need to do that this week. Sure, okay, Dad, I will. And, you know, finally she called me one day and she said, Dad, my car stopped running, and she had burned up the engine. There was no oil in the car. And I kind of brought out the manual and I showed it to her about the specs on replacing the oil, keeping it lubricated, doing the daily maintenance issues in order for it to function to the degree of our expectation. And she said, okay, Dad, now I understand. I said, well, you sure do, because to replace the engine is going to be very costly. I'm wondering what it's going to cost to replace the engine of America. I wonder what it's going to cost to replace the engine of your family, your life, your personal business, whatever you're involved in right now. Why? Because we haven't followed the specifications of the manual. You see, it came when God created man and woman. It came with a manual. That's the Word of God. So I want to just ask you today to start trusting in the Word Word of God. Get back to the Bible. Matter of fact, maybe you've never read the Bible, so I'm going to ask you to go find one. Maybe it's that big edition that you have on the coffee table or up in the closet somewhere that someone gave you when you got married. Go to the New Testament and go to the book of John, and I want you to begin reading that in the book of John. And it talks to us about Christ being the Son of God and how he came to touch man. Then go to the book of Luke. I love the book of Luke because it talks so much about humanity. And the book of Luke was written in light of man's need. And so whatever your need is today, you can find it in the manual. And then in the Old Testament as well, the book of Isaiah, talking about, especially in chapter 53, God's eternal plan to send his only begotten Son for you and for me. Well, America's broken, isn't it? America's limping along on crutches, and some economists say that perhaps in 2 or 3 years, we won't even recognize our nation. Wow, that would be something, wouldn't it, if we didn't even recognize our nation? As a matter of fact, in the same breath, this economist said we could begin looking much like Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe, third world countries, struggling in their economy, trying to make ends meet. I think today is a day when we need to halt this downward slide and begin to change our direction. You know what changed direction requires? It requires a decision. Have you made one? And if you haven't, I pray that you'll make it today before it's too late.